Capricorn, if you're seeing this right now, it's not a coincidence. Something in your energy has shifted. Something ancient and divine has recognized your name in the realm of abundance. Stop scrolling for a moment. I want you to take a breath and let this sink in. Because the moment you hear what I'm about to say, your life will never look the same again. Comment, I receive it, because that small action is your declaration to the universe that you're ready for your billionaire blessings. And if your spirit feels this message pulling you in, like you've been waiting to hear these exact words, then you're already chosen. Stay with me till the end, because what you're about to hear has been searching for you longer than you've been searching for it. You've been feeling something strange lately, haven't you? That deep restlessness, that unexplainable tension between who you are and who you're meant to be. You can't quite explain it, but you feel like something big is coming, even though nothing around you looks different yet. You've been seeing repeated numbers, catching strange coincidences, and feeling that inner voice saying, "Don't give up now." That's not your imagination, that's alignment. The universe doesn't whisper to everyone, only to those who are ready. There was once a man who kept seeing the same phrase everywhere, "You are chosen for abundance." It appeared on billboards, on random pages he scrolled past, and even in the lyrics of a song he didn't plan to hear. He thought it was silly, but deep down, something told him to take it seriously. A few months later, he received an unexpected phone call that changed everything. A forgotten business idea he'd pitched years ago had suddenly been approved for funding. He went from broke to building a global company in less than a year. That wasn't luck. That was divine timing disguised as coincidence. Sometimes blessings don't show up wearing crowns. They arrive wrapped in confusion, loss, and silence. Look back at your life. The times you felt abandoned were the moments heaven was preparing you. Joseph in the Bible was betrayed, forgotten, imprisoned, and yet when Pharaoh needed exactly what Joseph carried, his elevation was instant. That's how destiny moves, in silence, and then suddenly. You've been wondering why your efforts seem unseen, why people you helped turned against you, why your prayers haven't been answered yet. But what if all of that was proof that you're not ordinary? What if you've been hidden on purpose until the right moment? Every billionaire, every visionary, every prophet of success has a Joseph moment. Oprah had one when every door closed before her breakthrough. Elon Musk had one when he slept in his office because his company was collapsing. Tyler Perry had one when his plays kept failing until one night the audience showed up. The pattern is always the same: divine delay before divine display. You've been walking through that quiet space where it feels like nothing is happening, but the truth is, everything is being aligned in your favor. Thomas Edison failed 1,000 times before light broke through darkness. He wasn't chasing success, he was aligned with his purpose. That's why billionaires think differently. They don't chase money, they chase alignment. Success doesn't come to those who are lucky, it comes to those who are in tune with timing. You see, divine wealth doesn't rush, it arrives when your spirit is ready to manage it. You've been wondering why others move faster than you, but the truth is, slow elevation is stable elevation. I know someone, a woman named Clara, who ran a small jewelry business from her bedroom. For years, she begged people to notice her work. She posted online and barely got 10 likes. One night, she decided to give up. She deleted all her pictures, packed her things, and cried herself to sleep. The next morning, she woke up to find her old post had gone viral overnight. A celebrity had worn one of her pieces and tagged her brand. Her business exploded. What changed? Timing. When your frequency aligns, what used to ignore you starts to chase you. Sometimes the universe hides your blessing until you are emotionally and mentally strong enough to carry it. That's why the battle always begins in the mind before it touches your bank account. People pray for wealth but still think with fear, doubt, and limitation. But as the Bible says, "As a man thinketh, so is he." If you believe you're not ready, the universe agrees with you. Billionaires don't see problems, they see possibilities. They don't fear failure, they study it. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison, and yet he trained his mind every single day for leadership, not revenge. He came out not bitter, but prepared. You may feel trapped in a mental or emotional prison right now, debt, heartbreak, loneliness, but even in that space, heaven is training your mind for expansion, because your outer world will never grow beyond your inner world. The signs before abundance are rarely beautiful. Sometimes it's loss. Sometimes it's people leaving. Sometimes it's that sudden silence where you can't hear God anymore. But listen, When the silence gets louder, it's because heaven is speaking in a different language. Remember David in Ziklag? Everything was taken from him, his family, his possessions, even his soldiers wanted to turn on him. But right at that breaking point, God told him, "Pursue, for you shall recover all." And he did double. The shaking always comes before the settlement. Maybe your life has been shaking lately. Things you thought were stable are falling apart. People you trusted have vanished. Opportunities are drying up. It feels unfair, but this is the clearing. Heaven is decluttering your life to make room for what's next. Don't mourn what's leaving. It's making space for what's coming. That's why you're hearing this message right now. Because something in the spiritual realm has already decided your next chapter, and all you have to do is align with it. And maybe you're asking yourself right now, why me? Why this time? Because timing is no accident. The richest moments of destiny always come when you least expect them. King Solomon didn't ask for wealth, he asked for wisdom, and because of that, wealth chased him. He didn't need to hunt for abundance, he became abundance. That's the secret most people miss. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. Steve Jobs didn't chase money either. He chased innovation, excellence, and meaning. He wanted to change the world, not fill his pockets. And because of that, the world couldn't stop rewarding him. This is the difference between those who receive their billionaire blessing and those who don't. It's not desire, it's vibration. You attract what matches your energy. But let's talk about something deeper. Money, opportunities, fame, they are all spiritual before they are physical. Everything you will ever touch exists first in the unseen realm. Ancient kings knew this. That's why they offered incense, gratitude, and declarations before battle, because they understood that success was first spiritual. And even today, the same law applies. When you visualize, when you speak over your life, when you give thanks before it arrives, you're programming your frequency. There was a man, let's call him Anthony, who wrote a note at 20 years old that said, "I will be a millionaire by 30. He didn't even have a stable job, but he carried that note in his wallet every day. Every time he wanted to quit, he looked at it. He talked to himself like he was already there. By 29, he wasn't just a millionaire, he was mentoring others on how to do the same. He didn't just write a goal, he rewrote his vibration. When you speak abundance daily, you're not being delusional, you're activating divine codes. You're saying to the universe, "I'm available for my blessing." You're telling heaven, "I'm ready to manage wealth responsibly." You're no longer begging for it, you're embodying it. And sometimes, what unlocks the door isn't prayer alone, it's pouring what you already have. Remember the widow's oil in the Bible? She said, "I have nothing but a jar." Yet when she started pouring, the oil multiplied. That's the divine equation of wealth. It doesn't multiply in storage, it multiplies in motion. Rihanna didn't wait for someone to give her permission. She took her passion for beauty and built Fenty. Tyler Perry didn't quit after 1,000 rejections. He turned his pain into art. The oil didn't multiply until they started pouring. You've been waiting for the perfect time, the perfect conditions, the perfect people. But what if heaven has been waiting for you to start with what's already in your hands? We live in a world that glorifies receiving but forgets the power of giving. Yet the law of abundance has always been tied to generosity. Giving is not losing, it's circulating. Andrew Carnegie gave away most of his fortune, and yet his influence outlived his wealth. Jesus multiplied loaves only after they were shared. What you release multiplies, what you hoard decays. That's why I tell you, don't be afraid to give. Don't be afraid to help. Don't be afraid to bless others even when you're not where you want to be. Because generosity breaks scarcity. It tells the universe that you trust in infinite supply. If you can give when you have little, heaven will trust you with much. One of the most mysterious stories I've heard is about a struggling artist named Jonah. For years, he sold paintings no one wanted to buy. Every day before painting, he would hold his hands and pray, "Everything I touch prospers." He didn't know how or when, but he kept saying it. One day, a celebrity visiting his city stopped by his studio by accident. She bought one of his pieces and posted it online. Within 48 hours, Jonah's entire collection sold out. His paintings are now displayed in galleries worldwide. The words he spoke became flesh. Your life is the same canvas. What you speak over it determines the masterpiece. Every billionaire blessing begins as a declaration. The fact that you're still watching this message right now means heaven has already signed your name on a scroll of prosperity. You're not chasing blessings anymore, You're awakening to the truth that blessings have been chasing you all along. But before wealth manifests, there's always a final test. The moment before expansion often feels like contraction. You'll feel pressure, isolation, confusion, even fear. That's the sign you're close. When a bow is pulled backward, it's not punishment, it's preparation to launch forward. Every delay, every setback, every disappointment has been tightening the string of your destiny. You've cried enough nights, fought enough silent battles, questioned yourself enough times, but you didn't break. You're still here, and that's proof that something unstoppable is inside you. The world is about to see what heaven already saw, the version of you that doesn't chase, but attracts. The version of you that doesn't beg, but commands. So before you scroll, take a moment. If your spirit is resonating with this, type "I receive it," speak it aloud, feel it, because this isn't just motivation, this is confirmation. You didn't stumble on this message found you. And right now, in this exact second, something powerful is shifting in your atmosphere. Doors that refuse to open are being unlocked. Opportunities that ignored you are turning back in your direction. Everything that was delayed is aligning again. But the question is, will you be ready when it arrives? Because the universe doesn't bless confusion, it blesses clarity. And your clarity starts with acknowledgement. Speak your name in faith. Believe that this is your divine timing. Because once you do, the vibration around you will change. People will feel it. Money will feel it. Doors will feel it. And the most interesting part, sometimes heaven hides your biggest breakthrough inside your biggest disappointment. That's why you can't curse what hurt you. It might be the very thing that introduced you to your destiny. Something is unfolding right now that's been hidden for years. You've walked through enough fire to prove that you can handle the gold. So listen closely, because this isn't the end of your story, it's the moment before your revelation. Something ancient is awakening, something your ancestors prayed for, something your soul has been waiting to see. And when it happens, it won't make sense, because divine blessings never do. The universe has already decided. It's your time to rise. And the proof is that you didn't give up before this message found you. Capricorn, you made it here for a reason. The moment you clicked this video, the realm of wealth recognized your energy. This isn't a coincidence, this is a divine signal. If you're still watching, type "I receive it" in the comments right now, because that small act is how you claim your place in the flow of billionaire blessings that are already being released in this season. Don't just listen, engage with it. Because what you speak and declare is what the universe amplifies. You've probably been feeling it, that subtle shift inside you. Something has been calling you higher, whispering that the life you're living right now is just a fragment of what's written for you. But the moment you decided to rise, life began to shake, didn't it? People changed, things broke, plans collapsed. You thought you were losing everything, but you were actually being positioned for something greater. It's strange how divine elevation often looks like destruction at first. There's a spiritual science to wealth, a pattern that every great soul has walked through. Think about King Solomon. He didn't ask for money, he asked for wisdom. And the moment he aligned his mind with divine understanding, wealth began to chase him. He didn't have to chase gold, gold came to him. That's because true wealth begins in the unseen realm before it ever appears in the bank. If you only focus on what you can see, you'll miss what's already being prepared for you behind the scenes. The truth is, abundance isn't random. It's not luck, it's a vibration. It's a frequency that only those with an awakened spirit can tune into. Look at people like Steve Jobs. He wasn't driven by money, he was driven by a vision so big that the world had to reward him for it. Look at Elon Musk. While others were doubting, he was dreaming of planets. These weren't people chasing wealth, they were aligning with purpose. And once you align with purpose, prosperity becomes your shadow. It follows you everywhere you go. But let's go deeper. Money, power, influence, all of it starts as energy. Ancient kings understood this truth. Before every battle, they offered thanks, made declarations, and set their intentions. They understood that victory was spiritual before it was physical. That's why when you speak abundance, when you visualize your future, when you give thanks for things not yet seen, you're not pretending, you're activating. You're aligning your inner world with your outer destiny. There's a story about a young man named Daniel who grew up in poverty. Every morning before work, he would whisper to himself, "I'm surrounded by opportunities." He had no money, no education, no connections, just that sentence. He wrote it down and carried it in his wallet. For years, nothing seemed to happen. But one morning, while riding a bus to his low-paying job, he met a stranger who turned out to be a business mentor. That encounter changed his life. Within 5 years, Daniel was running multiple companies. He later said, "That sentence changed my frequency long before my life caught up." You see, life mirrors your inner conversation. If your words are small, your world will be small. But when your declarations expand, so does your reality. Every word you speak carries spiritual DNA. That's why billionaires think in creation, not in lack. They see solutions where others see struggle. They don't say, "I can't," they ask, "How can I?" And because of that, the universe bends to their questions. But here's the twist: abundance doesn't come without sacrifice. Every miracle has a moment of exchange. Remember the widow's oil in the Bible? She said she had nothing left except a small jar, and yet when she began to pour, it multiplied. The secret wasn't the oil, it was obedience. It was movement. It was faith in action. You might feel like you have nothing left to give right now, no resources, no support, no strength. But what if your miracle is hidden in what's still in your hands? Maybe it's a skill, a voice, an idea, a dream you buried because you thought it was too small. That's your jar. And when you start pouring, when you start moving, even in uncertainty, that's when heaven multiplies it. Rihanna turned her passion for beauty into a billion-dollar empire. Tyler Perry turned rejection into art that healed generations. None of them started with abundance, they started with a seed. And that seed only grew when they poured it into purpose. You don't need everything figured out, you just need to begin, because motion attracts miracles. Now listen carefully. Generosity is the secret door to overflow. Giving doesn't deplete you, it completes the cycle. Think of Andrew Carnegie. He gave away most of his fortune, and yet his legacy still builds libraries and universities today. The universe trusts those who understand circulation. What you release in faith always returns multiplied. There was a woman named Lydia who lived in constant debt. She decided one day to test this law. Instead of saving every last coin, she began giving small amounts to people in need: food, clothes, encouragement. At first, it seemed illogical, even foolish. But within a year, her debts began to vanish one by one. Unexpected opportunities opened. People she hadn't spoken to in years reached out with business proposals. She said later, "The moment I started giving from lack, heaven began giving from overflow." That's the law of divine generosity. You can't outgive the universe. Every act of faith you make sends a signal. Every word you speak becomes a seed. And every time you give, you plant something in a spiritual field that must one day bear fruit. That's why you shouldn't be surprised when abundance begins to find you in the most unexpected ways. You may think it's coincidence, but nothing about divine alignment is accidental. Let's go even deeper. There's a hidden level of abundance most people never reach because they stop believing right before the breakthrough. It's the final test. It's the silence that comes right before the explosion. It's the moment when your life seems to pause and you start to wonder if God forgot your name. But that's the proof that your blessing is close. There was a painter named Miguel who struggled for years. He sold his work on the streets and people walked past him every day, yet he never stopped painting. One day he prayed over his hands and said, "Everything I touch prospers." That same week, a famous musician walked by, saw his painting and bought it. Within hours, that image went viral. Miguel's entire life changed overnight. But he said something powerful: "My blessing wasn't in the paint, it was in my persistence." The same applies to you. You've been overlooked, underestimated, delayed, but not denied. Every no you've heard was simply a redirection. Every closed door was protection. You weren't forgotten, you were being refined. Because when abundance finally locates you, it won't just bless you, it will overflow to everyone connected to you. You might not realize it yet, but your story is being written in divine ink. The people who left you, the heartbreak, the losses, all of it was a setup for visibility. You've been in hiding, but only because God has been building your stage. And when you step into it, even those who doubted you will have no choice but to witness what heaven can do through someone who refused to quit. So pause right now. If this message is resonating with your soul, type "I receive it" below, not because I asked you to, but because that's how you send a signal to the universe that you are ready. Ready for opportunities that find you, ready for favor that surrounds you, ready for the shift that cannot be explained, only experienced. Your financial breakthrough isn't coming from a paycheck, it's coming from purpose. It's not coming from luck, it's coming from alignment. When you start to embody abundance, to think and act as if it's already yours, the universe rearranges itself to match that vibration. You begin to notice things others miss. You start to meet people whose presence feels divinely timed. And little by little, your old world begins to dissolve, replaced by something bigger than you could have imagined. The key is gratitude. Gratitude is wealth's language. When you give thanks for what you have, you magnetize what you don't. Every billionaire who sustains their success knows this. Gratitude multiplies resources because it multiplies awareness. When you thank the universe for small blessings, you become a magnet for larger ones. Let's pause for a moment, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and think about everything you've survived. The heartbreaks, the failures, the near misses, you're still standing. That means heaven hasn't forgotten you. The same power that kept you alive this long didn't do so just for you to live average. There's purpose in your pain, and soon you'll see why it had to happen this way. You've been in the waiting season, but waiting doesn't mean wasting. Seeds wait too, but while buried, they're growing roots. You may feel hidden right now, but something deep inside you is anchoring. And when the right moment arrives, you'll sprout in ways that shock everyone who once counted you out. There's a reason you keep feeling that pull toward greatness. It's because your spirit already knows where it's going. You've dreamt of wealth, not because you're greedy, but because your soul remembers abundance. That dream isn't fantasy, it's memory. It's your higher self reminding you of what's already written for you. The greatest trap is comparison. Stop measuring your timeline with someone else. Flowers don't bloom all at once, but they all bloom in season. What's coming for you is too custom to compare. Stay in alignment. Keep your vibration high. Keep gratitude flowing. Because the moment you match your frequency with abundance, it must respond. The most powerful truth of all is this: the universe is not testing your strength, it's revealing it. Every challenge is evidence that heaven trusts you with more. Every delay is training you to handle acceleration. Every failure is simply a rehearsal for the grand performance that's about to unfold. Something is moving right now in the unseen. Contracts are being written, doors are unlocking, ideas are being whispered into your spirit. Don't dismiss the sudden thoughts that light up your mind at night. They're not random. That's how divine intelligence speaks. Pay attention to those inner nudges. They are leading you toward your next chapter. There's one more story I need to tell you before this message settles in your heart. A man named David, not the biblical one, but a modern one, was fired from his job after 15 years. He thought his life was over. Depression set in. But one night he heard a voice inside say, "Build what you always wished existed." He had always loved writing, so he started sharing motivational posts online. Within a year, his page had millions of followers. Companies began paying him to speak. He later said, "Losing that job was how God introduced me to my purpose." Sometimes what looks like loss is divine redirection. And maybe that's what's been happening to you. The things that fell apart weren't curses, they were clues. The people who left weren't rejections, they were redirections. Every ending in your life was secretly a beginning wearing disguise. And now, the universe is whispering, it's time. Something in your life is about to make sense. Something you prayed for years ago but forgot is about to return in upgraded form. The connections, the opportunities, the resources, they're aligning as you listen. You can feel it in your chest, that warmth, that quiet knowing, that's confirmation. So I'll ask you again, are you ready for your billionaire blessings? Not someday, now. Speak it out loud, write it down, act on it. Let your energy rise. Because this isn't about money alone, it's about becoming who you were always meant to be. The person who doesn't chase wealth but channels it. The person who turns pain into power, confusion into clarity, waiting into wisdom. And as you do, watch how quickly things begin to shift. Watch how people start appearing at the right time. Watch how your intuition sharpens, how peace replaces worry, how purpose replaces fear. Because you've crossed into a frequency where blessings don't delay, they arrive on command. This is the season you stop surviving and start receiving. The season where your gifts make room for you. The season where everything that was hidden begins to rise to the surface. And even as you're listening right now, heaven is arranging something you can't yet see, but you can feel it. That gentle pull in your chest, that tingling in your hands, that deep calm after the storm. It's not imagination, it's alignment. Capricorn, this is your awakening. The gates are open. The river of wealth is flowing. The frequency of abundance is calling your name. Stay still for a moment, listen to it. It's subtle but powerful, and soon you'll realize this wasn't just a message. It was the exact confirmation your soul had been waiting for.